Hi, my name's James, and I chose to do my report on Uganda. And in order to do this report, I am going to run through the handy little checklist we were provided and deal with the different points highlighted there. Now, starting off with the history behind emergency management in Uganda, up until 1995, there really wasn't any standing organization that stepped in during emergencies. It was kind of just a catch as catch can. But a constitutional amendment said that the government recognized that it was the government's job to step in and help with emergencies. Um, and that's kind of it. They just left it there. They established an organization and then said, great, nothing else really happened. So in 2010, that organization, the Directorate for Relief and Disaster Preparedness and Refugees, stepped in and said, okay, we're going to create a national plan. They outlined a really long national plan, which for the most part really just delegated the actual handling of disasters to other organizations that would have a more unique understanding of them. For example, droughts, food supply issues are handed off to the Department of Agriculture, which makes sense, but there's no mandate for those organizations to do anything, more like a suggestion according to the government. And since then, there have been some gains, but not really severe or worthwhile gains in making a difference. There have been some plans drawn up, but that's about it. The implementation pattern of these plans is typically classified as confused, mostly because no one knows what's going on. There's no clear line of communication, there's no actual chain of command as to who will be dealing with this. There's a chain of command outlined by the directorate as to who will claim it's a disaster, who will declare what resources should be made available, but the actual implementation of those resources is really left up to whoever actually gets there first, if anyone gets there. And that's the other big issue. Right now, everyone kind of deals with these disasters. The citizens have an obligation to deal with them according to the government. International organizations step in to help out with what resources they can provide. But there's really no one organization that stands out in dealing with these. And that's because the government doesn't make it happen. For the most part, the government, according to many humanitarian organizations, is more focused on building up its military in order to deal with things like the Lord's Resistance Army and other militant groups inside the region that it feels are a more pressing concern, which leads to many of these regions suffering from predictable disasters. I mean, just like we in Florida predict hurricanes will come every year, so we should be prepared for them, even if thankfully in the last couple of years we haven't been hit that bad. We're still ready. Whereas in Uganda, there are consistent flooding, there's consistent droughts, there are things that happen every year that people are not prepared for. And this is because government doesn't put resources in play that help protect those people. And I see that I've gone over my 3 minutes, so I am going to wrap it up with saying that Uganda is not a very big country. It's got 35 million people in it. And government has an obligation to protect those people. Even though it says it's doing its job, it's not. They've shown that they're willing to put resources in play that will help, but they have not actually made a difference.